This is brought to you by John Daniel and Partners LLP.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate your time and your sacrifice. We are John Daniel and Partners LLP, a CPA firm based in Nairobi, Kilimani. And our topic for today is how to ensure financial resilience for your SME. As we all know, resilience can be defined as the ability to adapt to tough situations and the ability to bounce back from the same. So in our webinar today, we are seeking to explore or to understand what really financial resilience means. What are the likely challenges SMEs encounter on a day-to-day basis? And what are the key drivers to financial resilience? So our speaker for today is CPA Dan Chege. Is the managing partner in our firm. He has over 20 years industry experience. So I will invite him to take over. And before he begins, I would like everyone to mute. Once you join the webinar, please mute. If you have any question, there is a chat section area on your left hand side. So if you have anything that you'd like to be asked to address, please use the chat box. Thank you so much and welcome. Welcome, Mr. Dan.
Thank you. Thank you, Frida. And good morning to everyone. I hope I'm clear. Frida, you can confirm I'm clear.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. So as Frida has indicated, we are going to discuss about financial resilience in our businesses. And we are targeting small and medium enterprises because we understand their unique situations that warrant the SMEs to be addressed as a special category of businesses, mainly because of the challenges they face and the unique circumstances that business people find themselves in. So we will be covering quite a number of things, and our discussion here, I would really urge that we put in our comments. We put in the chat board comments or areas that you feel are important for SMEs, or the challenges, the pain points SMEs face as far as business resilience is concerned, as far as financial resilience is concerned, so that those issues we can be able to discuss them. Of course, as a professional services firm, we serve a number of clients, and most of our clients are small and medium enterprises. So we are able to see the unique challenges they face, and we are able to relate with them, and we can be able to see one client, how he or she is managing those problems, how the other client is also managing the same problems. So we have a fairly good perspective in terms of what SMEs face. However, I would want to caution here, we are not saying that we have all the right answers in terms of those challenges. We know there are multiplicity of problems and even unique circumstances with every SME. So we are not saying that we have solutions for every problem, but in our discussions, we can be able to kind of explore those, the best ways, the best ways you can approach problems, because most of the problems are common, and even if the businesses are different, they're in different sectors of the economy, they face very many. They have very many similarities in terms of the challenges that they encounter. So we'll be looking at the concept of financial resilience, what it means, what does it mean to be resilient, and then looking at the challenges that are faced by SMEs. Of course, that will not be a lot of news for those who are running businesses. And then what are the key drivers? What can we say drives financial resilience? What determines financial resilience? And then how can we be able to enhance financial resilience? What measures can we take? What actions can we take in our various businesses so that we can be able to ensure that the businesses are resilient, they are able to sustain themselves even in the face of difficulties. And of course, we will have our updates. Since we hold the webinars on monthly basis, we would want to be in touch with our audience, our clients and the prospective clients, so that they stay up to date, especially on tax matters, areas that are relevant to SMEs again. And because we understand the tax issues are very central to businesses, and in Kenya of late, KRA has been very aggressive in collection of taxes, and of course the collection of taxes affects SMEs because these are the business people, the taxpayers who are targeted by KRA. And here our philosophy is not that we would want to fight KRA in any way. Our philosophy is basically to ensure compliance. But even as we ensure compliance, we know that is much easier said than done. It's not an easy thing to do, because the laws are made for everybody. But then you as a person running the SME will find yourself in the unique circumstances every now and then. So we'll be looking at the tax updates. I would also want to mention that we are thinking about setting up a WhatsApp group where we can share views, and where we can be able to get feedback and exchange views for our participants and our clients and prospective clients. Just an open forum where we can exchange views and we can grow one another in terms of ideas, business ideas, unique challenges that each person experiences. Because when you're suffering, it's very easy to think you are suffering alone. But there may be people who have experienced the same problems. They can help you with ideas. They can help you with suggestions on the best way to approach a particular problem. So we are thinking of setting up a WhatsApp group, a big WhatsApp group that will involve everybody who participates. And this will be just restricted to sharing ideas. It's not, for posting all manner of, every other thing, political, whatever. No. It will be focused specifically for businesses, and therefore a good forum where people can be able to exchange ideas and they will be able to grow together. So I would want us to put in the chat if you think that's a good idea, and if you think it's a good idea, what you'd want us to discuss in such or how you'd want us to run such a WhatsApp group. And of course, it will be by invitation only. We will not force anybody to come in. We'll just send invitations. And therefore, one will only be willing to come in. And of course, one can also exit at will. But since it will be a forum for growing one another, then I believe it will be helpful to everybody who will be participating and sharing those ideas with other people, because they can contribute, other people can contribute, and I'm sure there will be benefit for such a forum. So as we continue, I'll be happy if you can put in your ideas, you can put in the chat the kind of things that you'd want us to address. Good, thank you. We can jump in and look at what is financial resilience. And here we are looking at how we can be able to adapt to different, to changing circumstances. There are changes. We are told that even in evolution, the species that are able to adapt to the environment, the changing environment, are the ones that are able to survive and grow. And likewise for businesses. So we are looking at resilience in terms of how we can be able to overcome any disruptions that are happening in the market, both within our businesses, outside the environment, so that we can be able to continue doing our businesses. So if we can be able to withstand those shocks that will come, they'll obviously come. There may be political turmoil, there may be economic downturns, and expenses, some expenses that are, they've just been, targeted by KRA for an audit. You've just had problems with your regulator. You've just lost a big client. Those kind of challenges, they will always come. And therefore, we are looking at how we can take the right actions, how we can be able to ensure that because of our right actions, then we have financial resilience. And because of those actions, we are able to have habits. Habits, we are told human beings are creatures of habit. What we do every day is what makes us. And because of what we do every day, the kind of habits we have, then they determine our destiny. They determine where we are going. And so is our businesses. Because of what we are doing on them, how we are working on them, how we are able to make the right decisions, then we are able to determine whether our businesses will be successful or not. So we want to look at how we can ensure that we enhance the chances of those businesses succeeding. And of course, the current world is full of challenges. And I usually like telling people that it's not unique to Kenya. And we have people in social media saying only happens in Kenya, only happens in Kenya. Of course, it comes out as a joke, but many people believe when something has happened, and especially something bad has happened, it's only in Kenya. No. Politicians are politicians. They behave the way you see politicians behaving in Kenya, even in the most developed parts of the world. You've seen the politics in the US, for example. They'll even be, very acrimonious discussions, very bad words used against one another. So that's politics. If we are talking of technological disruptions is everywhere. It's happening globally. Regulations are all over. Taxes are not unique to Kenya. I usually hear that people try to say Kenyans are the most highly taxed. I mean, people who have facts, no otherwise. It's not. It's not. And it's always easy when you capture that from a politician who is in the opposition. Of course, a politician will not say that when they're in government, because they are the ones running the government. They wouldn't want people to believe that Kenyans are the most highly taxed. So those challenges, the realities are everywhere. We are short of funds. We have limited access to finances. Interest rates have gone up. And again, it's global. It's not unique to Kenya. It's global. So if you understand international arrangement of things, you'll find like Americans will increase their interest rates, and globally every other country is affected because one country is related with the other. Corruption. Corruption has been an evil from a time immemorial. All those challenges are there. And it is us as business people to really ask ourselves, how can we adapt? How can we be able to succeed in this turmoil? If I can use the analogy of the sea, high seas, you are somewhere in the high seas, in a boat, in a ship, the weeds are there, the turbulence is there. So how can you be able to steady your vessel, your ship, your boat, in a way that you still embark on the journey and you get to your destination? That's the mind we need to ask, to approach things, so that we don't keep complaining. We don't look at things like we are victims. We instead reverse it, and we agree that these are realities that will always be there. We can participate in trying to make the environment better by voting the right leaders, for example, by trying to advocate for right approaches, right policies, even participating in demonstrations. There is nothing wrong. We can do that. But once we have taken that action, at the end of the day, we still have to run our businesses. We still have to sustain our families. So we need to come back and ask ourselves, what can we be able to do for our businesses and be able to do the right things so that we can be able to succeed. So what are the drivers for financial resilience? First, financial planning. This may look like too easy, but you'll be surprised how many people are able to plan financially well. I am a victim of this myself. I get challenges and I have a plan and I'm not sticking to it. I mean, it happens to many of us. I have attended 1,001 classes on finance, financial planning and corporate finance, personal finance. But I still find myself not really doing the right things in terms of financial preferences. Why? Because we are human beings. So as human beings, we make decisions in a very subjective way. We make decisions out of instinct at times, instead of facing the facts as they are. So we need to know that financial planning plays a very key role, both at the individual level and at the business level. So it is a structured approach. How are we going to allocate resources? That's why we need to talk about things like budgeting. So because of a budget, it is a guide, it's a tool to guide us in allocation of resources. And once you have prepared a budget, it's not the end of it. We need to monitor, because a budget has the income side, it has the expense side. How are our incomes progressing? Can they sustain the expenses we had planned, so that you adjust accordingly? So financial planning is one very key driver in financial resilience. So it needs to be at the back of our minds, even as we plan. Then for SMEs is the focus on the customer. Focus on your customer centrality. So we need to prioritize the needs of our customers. And we are told that we don't, as business people, we should not assume we know what the customer wants. So we should be ready to interact with the customer and ask questions. What do you prefer? If, for example, you are serving many customers, you need to have a way of collecting information, collecting data about the preferences of that of the customer in your field. What do they really like? Are there certain products you can change? Are there service offerings you can change? Can you adapt to market changes? If, for example, you're in a restaurant setting and your customers are very conscious about the environment, they are very conscious about their health, eating habits, are there ways that you can change the menu? So you need to ask your questions. Don't give them what you like. If for example, as a villager, I grew up in the village and I enjoy githeri, for example, doesn't mean that everybody likes githeri. So I should not assume that my personal preferences are basically the same as the preferences of the customer. So we need to ask the customers and know what really drives the customer, the kind of interest they have, and how we can be able to mitigate risks by diversifying. Because here, as a business, the way the marketplace perceives us, perceives us, is what is called a brand. I'm using layman words so that we understand, because some of these words are just used every day, but we never internalize the meaning. A brand is the way the marketplace perceives us. And when I say the marketplace, I mean the people, the big markets that you are targeting, or the market that your customers are coming from, how they perceive you. And this will be right from your products, the way you interact with them. And remember, you are serving human beings. They are people with weaknesses. They have their emotions. They have their preferences. So the way you serve, the focus you have, the kind of issues you are facing, the diversity of products is what comprises a brand. A brand is not just the logo or the colors that you have, or the name that you have, or the advertising that you bombard people with. So we need to ensure that at the end of the day, the customer experience is great. I like a quote attributed to the American billionaire Warren Buffett, that for a business, you only need to know how to delight the customer. And when a sage, I would call him a sage, because Warren Buffett is over 90 years now. And when he has been running a business for a long time and he has been successful, when he says you only need to think about how to delight the customer, then I think we ought to pay attention as business people. So, and you can see there is a quote there: customer experience is the next competitive battleground, by Jerry Gregoire. He's an American entrepreneur. He's in the aviation industry, and he has founded a very successful business, which I think is the world global leader in aviation equipment, aviation simulators, and all those kind of things. So we need to focus on the customer, because that's the message that successful people are telling us. Then business systems. What kind of business systems do we have? What are our management systems? How do we control things in our businesses? The processes, the tools, the technologies we use. Because these are the things that they even enhance customer experience, they control costs, they increase efficiency, accuracy. If you reflect on the banking industry, for example, and if you are so does me, in our days, I remember visiting a bank with my dad, and it's a banking hall full of people, and we would spend almost a day there. Long queues, and you first queue here, you check your balance, then you queue again to get to withdraw if you are withdrawing. Why? Because the records are manual, they are in paper form. Somebody has to go check in a register, in a big book called Ledger, and check the balance, give you a record of your balance. Then you take a long queue somewhere to fill a form. And you see, think about it, and now think about the banking sector today in terms of technology, the kind of systems they have. The banking halls now, they're almost vacant. Why? Because of technology. I mean, you can check the bank balance from your phone at the comfort of your phone. Now you can imagine somebody making a journey to go to the bank to check the bank balance. Then you find you don't have money, and you are making the journey back. That's what used to happen just a few years ago. And here I'm talking of 80s, not a century ago. I'm just 1980s and probably even the early 90s. So we need to ensure that our systems are right, and they are working to give us efficiency. They are working to improve our productivity in whatever areas we are working in. Now, let's dive in and ask ourselves, how can we improve now financial resilience? Now that we know what drives financial resilience, what makes us our businesses resilient? They are able to withstand any shocks. They are able to withstand problems that are facing us. Multiplicity of problems compounded over and over. A hostile business environment. How can we be able to improve and be able? What are the strategies? First, we have already looked at one driver called financial planning. And since financial planning is a driver of resilience, what can we do? Cash flow management of our cash flows. You have payments that you are making, and you have what you are selling, you are receiving. So balancing the cash flow, it becomes a very important skill to have. What amount of money are you expecting? And remember, whatever you're expecting can still fail to come on the day that you expected the money to come. So what kind of decisions do you need to make today so that whatever you pay today, whatever you receive today is a priority? And here cash flow is an issue of prioritizing. It's prioritizing. So we need to ensure that we are able to invoice promptly. Invoicing promptly or asking our customers to pay us as soon as possible is one important bit, because we'll invoice at the point we have agreed with the customer if we are invoicing. We need to ensure if, for example, it's a cash business like a restaurant or a supermarket, then we have controls in terms of every customer is paying. That's what prompt invoicing means to those kind of businesses. If you are in the service industry like ourselves, then it also means completion of the work and ensuring that you are at the invoicing stage and you are doing the invoicing. And then, of course, once you invoice, you follow up to ensure that you are paid. because it's not always that the customer, the moment you invoice, the customer is waiting to just pay you immediately. It's a culture that we have. Many people will, until you follow up, you may not be paid. Remember, they're also trying to prioritize their payments. So you need to ensure that you're in the front seat in terms of priority for them to pay you. And then, of course, if, for example, you are buying and selling, you are buying merchandise and you are selling, talk to your suppliers, negotiate for longer credit periods. If, for example, you are importing, is there a way that your business partners in the other countries, in China, in Turkey, wherever, they are able to give you credit so that you have the goods, you have the items you are selling, and then once you sell and you get the money from your customers, then you can be able to pay them. That's basically cash flow management. And it's not just an issue of instinct. It's something you need to consciously look at the unique circumstances of your business and ensure that you know what to balance. Just think of a restaurant that is serving potato chips, the French fries, and is buying potatoes in gunias. Then it means you buy the potatoes in 2 large gunias. Let's assume those 2 gunias will, within 3-4 days, they are gone. So do you pay at the point they have been delivered, or do you pay after 3-4 days? It may look a simple decision, but it's a very important decision to make for your business, because if you pay in advance, then you need some money in advance. But if you can pay after you have sold, then it benefits you, because you'll be able to collect from your customers and then be able to pay your supplier. The other thing is tax planning. What tax obligations fall under you? When other people are complaining about KRA, don't just join in the song to be happy and yes, KRA is bad, yes, the taxes money is bad, hey, this Hazara government is oppressing us, Sakayo and everything. Of course, we can make those noises, and we can be able to advocate, as I was saying, as good citizens. It's important we protest where we have to protest, where we are not happy, so that we send the right message to our leaders. But once you've done that, then you sit back at your desk and ask yourself, for my business, how is it affected by taxes? If, for example, it's VAT, should I register for VAT? Should I not? I mean, is it just a decision that you wake up and decide? It's not. It's the law. The law stipulates who can register for VAT, who should not bother registering for VAT. So you need to know. The first thing is to know. And once you know the relevant obligations, then you can think about compliance. And then, of course, you think about the efficiency, tax efficiency strategies, such as deferral of options and seeking professional advice. I always say that tax is unique to every business. And I like giving the example of our medical problems. If you are sick, you go to hospital. And if you just take a moment to reflect on it, for me, I'm sick. Let's say we are both coughing. 2 people are coughing. For me, right now, I'm 51 years. And let's assume somebody who is 25 years is coughing. If we approach the same hospital, first we'll get to what they call the triage, and our metrics are taken. How heavy are you? I could be heavy, very obese. How heavy are you? What's your pressure? How are you breathing, or whatever, your temperature, your gender? A lot of metrics are taken up. And then we get to see the doctor. The doctor hears the story and makes the diagnosis, can even send you to the lab. And remember, we were both coughing. And let's even think of that as the same disease. Let's assume it's a simple cough. You can be sure at the end of it, we'll not walk out with the same medication. Why? Because our bodies are different, our ages are different, our metrics are different, and so is taxation. Every business is unique. And with every business being unique, it also calls for unique ways of approaching based on the circumstances. And that's why you will not go to the hospital and get medication. And since your wife or your husband or your daughter, your son is coughing, you also give him or her the same medication you had. No. It is for you specifically. It is tailored for you. So it's not good to just take a blanket solution out there and try to tailor it for your business. Try to tailor make, seek professional advice. Talk to somebody who knows. Get to find out. You can Google nowadays. You can go visit even KRA website and all that so that you know. The next bit is about budgeting. I talked about financial planning as a key driver. And budgets basically is an allocation of, is about how we are going to allocate resources. Now, many people think budgets are there to dictate to us. And therefore, people will say, no, why do I need a budget? Why should the budget just determine for me? Me, I'll do things the way I want. Even at personal level, we are told to budget. But then people will say, no, why should I bother? It's my money, it's my life. But one thing we forget is that the budget is us who are making the budget. So if you are making the budget yourself, you are prioritizing what you like. Nobody is making the budget for you. So you as a business person, you are preparing a budget based on what you are doing, based on what priorities are, and it gives you a picture. It gives you how you intend the year to go. For example, if you are preparing that in January or December to prepare for the following year, you are making a future that you want. So nobody's dictating what you should put in a budget. There are circumstances that are pushing you, and you'd want to overcome problems that are bad, things that are not for your business. They are not to working to your advantage. So even at personal level, we then review those budgets. We then check whether are we, the first quarter has gone. How have we performed? Have we sold enough? Have we sold as much as we wanted to sell? What can we postpone some expenses? Or have we sold so well that we can even adjust some expenses? We wanted to train people more. Can we now take them to those trainings that we wanted to ensure our people are trained in? So those are the things we need to focus on. And remember, the budget, it's you who is making the budget. It's not anybody else. So you make it for yourself and you prioritize what is important to you. Then we need to diversify. And diversification is to ensure that we are not relying on a single product. We are not relying on a single customer. We are not there just because, let's say, Safaricom. has given us a contract. Safaricom is a major company, it's a successful company, and it's great. If you can get the Safaricom as a customer, it's good. But then, once you have secured that contract, to ensure that your business is resilient, it should not be tied, the success of your business should not be tied to that contract. Remember, the contract can lapse. It can be cancelled. Does it mean once it's cancelled, your business closes? Sure. What can you do to ensure that you have many customers? And of course, there are some industries where people will have very many customers. And a good example is a restaurant that is in a busy street in town, for example, in Nairobi or any other major town. It means anybody passing by can walk in and become a customer. So will happen with a supermarket, for example. And that's a good advantage, because here you are not tied to any one particular person. But think of a restaurant that is supplying one big company, a company that is occupying 2-3 floors of a big building. So every day you are preparing mandazis for them, lunch for them, supper for them. So it's a restaurant, yes, but it's reliant on one customer. So if it's cancelled, you need to ask yourself, how can you be able to sustain yourself? So we need to diversify. We give something different. We ensure our customers are many, our partnerships are there. And even what we offer, the product offering, because competitors come in and they start endangering our comfort zones, because you can have a very good product, but then tomorrow somebody comes. You have seen the discussion in the media currently about Starlink and Safaricom. Safaricom is a very successful company. But then Elon Musk comes up with the Starlink and is ready to offer you, at a fraction of what Safaricom is offering. I know there is that debate about whether they should be licensed as infrastructure providers and all that. But I don't want to get into that debate, but I'm just trying to demonstrate that even a company as big as Safaricom is also vulnerable, because another giant will come in. So you need your product offerings to be diversified, so that if Safaricom was only relying on internet and then Starlink comes, then they'll be jeopardized. But at least now they have different product offerings. They have M-Pesa, they have the calls, they have the data services. So those are the things we need to ask ourselves, how we can be able to diversify. And then we need to leverage on technology. Technology is one very key driver. The business systems you are talking about when you are discussing about drivers. And we always want to say, no, our business is unique, our business is unique. Interact with other people and you come to realize the business may not be as unique as we would want to say. The circumstances are different and all that. Let's try to ask ourselves, what technology is available out there? What can we afford? If, for example, it's an accounting application, if your friend told you accounting applications are expensive, no, they cost a lot of money, so don't bother with them. Ask yourself whether that's the right thing to do, because as much as you may avoid it today, tomorrow it may not be avoidable. If KRA is coming, it's putting pressure on you to present the books of accounts. Where are your books of accounts? And your books of accounts is not just a receipt book that you have a carbon you have a carbon copy of what you issued as a receipt. Right now, we are talking of e-teams. What is this e-teams? It's a technology that has come in. The taxman has adopted a technology. What are you adopting yourself? What are the tools? We are talking of cloud-based solutions now. And literally every other application is going to the cloud. What is this? We are calling cloud-based solutions. So we need to ensure that our resilience is enhanced by adopting the right technologies. And we are not advocating for you to just follow the wave. We are saying just know what is right for you so that you can make the right decision. Get to make an informed decision. You already know, not just based on your bias. If you are an old person like me and you don't like computers, doesn't mean that your business will not use computers. Get to employ younger people, probably who are very happy with their computers. Let them advise you on the best ways of technology. Let them give you ideas. Those are the kind of things we need to consider. And then debt management. Debt management. This one is a big problem because today we face many problems. Therefore, we rush to the bank, we get a loan, and then we are happy. We have several millions as a loan. We are excited. We are even buying new furniture, and probably even our lifestyles are changing sometimes. And then the bank starts calling you to ask for the installment payment. Why are you not paying? That stress can really push you. It can really push you, and we are even told, even health-wise, it's a very big challenge because it's a big contributor to stress at individual level. And then the worst bit is, you being unhealthy when you are running a business. You want to focus on the business, not you trying to manage your stress. I even had this video I saw the other day, and talking of stress coming from death, disease, divorce, and debt. Those are D's. if you think about it, that's probably true that our main sources of stress will come from disease, death, divorce, debt. So debt, and right now is a big problem because it's much easier to borrow nowadays. You can borrow from your phone. You borrow from this corner, you borrow from this corner, you borrow from this corner, and then the government says, even reference bureaus, credit reference bureaus will no longer list you. So you even borrow more and more. So you need to ask yourself whether your borrowing habits are good. How can you manage your debt? How can you seek help if you have to? So that you manage your debt in a good way, in a way that is sustainable and there is resilience. As I mentioned, we are not saying these are the only. We are the only people who knows about financial resilience. So I will expect that we continue giving our views, areas that we think are important to us. Before I get to this part of tax updates, the recent tax updates, kindly post your views in terms of financial resilience. Also, as I had mentioned, we are thinking about setting up a WhatsApp group where we can share ideas. And this WhatsApp group is only for those who are willing to join. And it should only be restricted to business matters, discussion of business matters, discussion of the key issues that driving businesses, and it will not be this bringing in politics and the kind of things that distract us from running businesses. People talking of political ideas. If you have those ideas, it's good, and I'm sure there'll be enough forums out there where we can be able to exchange our views politically or even other ideas in the social arena updates. We want to have a WhatsApp group where we can be able to exchange views, we can share common problems, we can grow one another, we can be able to exchange ideas, and we strictly restrict. We just restrict ourselves to discussing business issues, and out of that, I'm sure we can be able to help one another. We can be able to exchange views on how to handle common business problems. So if you think that's a good idea, I would want you to probably give that a post, a thumbs up somewhere in the chats, so that as we form that group, we can consider the views that you have. And remember, this will be only for those who are willing. We'll not be able to force you. And again, it is something you are free to join and also free to exit. And it's mainly done in good faith in terms of ensuring that we have a common forum that we can be able to exchange ideas, and we can be able to guide people on one or how the kind of problems each and every one of us is experiencing in terms of running our businesses. So give your views on that. I want to jump in towards as I come towards the end of the presentation about the recent tax updates. As I mentioned at the beginning, we'd want to ensure that our clients, our prospective clients, our friends, of the participants in the Wezesha webinars are able to benefit, because we know tax is a very central thing, and as a professional services firm, we have these are the things that we handle on a day-to-day basis. So because we have this tab on the recent updates, we would want this to be communicated as part of educating our participants. And we may have seen this in the media, we may have read about it. So we know that the finance bill was rejected. Of course, it was dropped. And of course, dropping finance bill, that meant that the changes that were to be effected in the various mainly tax laws, like the Income Tax Act, the VAT Act, Excise Tax Act, or Excise Duty. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically for levying excise duty, like on cigarettes, on soft drinks, and all that. Those laws are usually changed with the finance bill, and when it's enacted, of course, it becomes the Finance Act, and effectively changes various laws for the government to meet its objectives. That's why we have the finance bill coming up every year around the budget time. So the fact that it was dropped means whatever was good and whatever was bad was thrown out. And I know for sure there were some good things in the finance bill, but I will not get into that. But we know that with the new CS Treasury, John Buddy, he has mentioned that there could be some changes that will be brought. And I know he corrected himself again and said he was misquoted and the finance bill is dead. But I know around October, around November, the supplementary budget will come in, and it always does. Supplementary budgets means because of what the government had planned, then there could be changes based on the progress they have, based on the revenues they are raising. It's just like the budget I was talking about at the corporate level, at the personal level. the government will assess itself and say, we are able to collect finances this much, the revenues, the taxes about this much. So we are going to change whatever we had budgeted, we are going to remove this or change this. It's very possible that they may introduce or reintroduce certain things for consideration by Parliament. I mean, I'm just saying this as an update. I'm not privy to whatever goes on in State House or in Treasury, but I'm saying it's something to watch out for and get to know what comes up. Then we know that the Finance Act 2023, yes?
You're breaking. I don't know if this is the experience for everyone in the meeting, but it's on my end.
Oh, okay. I hope it will not be for long because I'm just using Wi-Fi, and I hope it's not affecting many people, or it has not affected for long. Am I clear now? From your end, Frida?
Yes, you're clear.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I see Peter saying you are clear.
Thank you. Let me just proceed. I hope it will not affect. Be affected again. I was talking about the Finance Act 2023, which was drawn out kind of by the court, but we know the government appealed in the Supreme Court. And of course, we leave the courts to decide because that's their work. It's for them to decide. As much as we can debate the pros and cons, that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, the authority is in the courts of law, and they should decide, and hopefully they make the right decisions. So we know that as much as it was drawn out, the Supreme Court gave an order of stay of execution. That means the throwing out is not effected. It means the throwing out has been suspended, and therefore let's suspend that. Is kind of saying let's suspend the throwing out until we have made a decision. And of course, they take their time. They listen to both sides, and then they make their decision. Whatever decision they make, when they'll make, we don't know because that's for them to make the ruling. And of course, we know the Supreme Court is the last court in the land, so the Supreme Court decision will be final. What does that mean? It also means that whatever changes were there in the Finance Act 2023, we need to be conscious about them. What was changed, what was not changed, so that if it is drawn out, then what does it mean for my business? What does it mean in terms of what tax law will be removed, or what new law will come back? Remember, as I said, the Finance Act changes tax laws mainly. So if, for example, the rates had been changed by the Finance Act 2023, and again, Finance Act 2024 was thrown out, then it means we go back to whatever was there before Finance Act 2023. So we will need to know that. And of course, as a professional services firm, we'll also give you updates. We'll provide updates on once that decision is made. We'll produce some newsletters so that we can be able to communicate to our clients and our prospective clients on what actions they may need to take, and what kind of information is relevant for their businesses to consider. Then there are also other things like now the Affordable Finance Levy is in iTax. Remember iTax, the system for processing taxes, KRA. The PAE return acknowledgement receipt has been updated, and it now includes the Affordable Housing Levy. So the liability for Affordable Housing Levy, remember the Housing Levy is there and back now. So we need to know that. Previously, it was not appearing, so it's a good development, and it's appearing, so you can be able to see the ability. Again, there was a problem in iTax where taxpayers could not print withholding certificates from their profiles from when they log in the taxpayer profile, and it was returning an error, no records found. And of course, when you are interacting with iTax, it is usually very frustrating when you have such a thing. You keep asking yourself, what's wrong? Is it that I have wrong internet? Is it that I have problems with the taxman, or my records have a problem? I log in, you log out, you log in again. But now they have been able to streamline that, so you can be able to print. Printing meaning you can be able to see the withholding tax certificates. So that's also an important update. So I'll pause there for now, and maybe check whether there are any questions, any things we can be able to discuss, and then out of that we can be able to reply to questions that may be there. So Frida, if you are there, you can take over.
Thank you so much, Dan, for the wonderful presentation. I cannot see any question in the chat box. It's only a comment from Kennedy. He supports the idea of having a common WhatsApp group. Maybe if we can hear what the rest have to say concerning the same. If you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat section area. Thank you.
Maybe you can also have maybe somebody unmuting if you are there and you feel you need to make a comment or a contribution in terms of financial resilience, in terms of your experience, what you have seen about the best approaches. I don't know whether we have any participant who may want to make a comment, a contribution. I think that can also be encouraged, Frida.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Another comment from Mercy. She's in support of the Common WhatsApp group. To all our participants, thank you for tuning in to today's webinar. We are giving you room to comment or ask questions that you may be having. Moses says WhatsApp group will be great. He has not participated the whole time. Don't worry, we will be sharing the recordings later in the day. I can see Patricia is around. Patricia, would you like to unmute and say something?
Hi, Frida.
Hi.
How are you today? Thank you for the meeting. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling so well, so I will not say much. But thank you for the short notes.
Okay, thank you, Patricia. Moses Njoroge, would you like to say something?
Hi everyone. It's good that I've been able to join at the point of maybe winding up, but I have just heard something about the finance bill, and I'm sure with the information that Dan was sharing, it's opening our eyes, and we be able to even to have more clear direction, even as the government continues to make the adjustments. But so far, so good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Njoroge. I can see, Rose, your hand is up. Kindly unmute.
Thank you, Frida. I'm Rose Musila, and well, unfortunately, I joined when the meeting had already started, but for the portion that I participated, I just wanted to comment that and appreciate presentation. It's quite helpful, and I just joined when I think you were talking about the issue of our WhatsApp group. I think it's a great idea so that then people have an opportunity to exchange ideas and to share ideas on how we can grow together, and also how we can build, resilient enterprises. So I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. It's wonderful and helpful, and I look forward to the next one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rose. On that juncture, yes, we have our next webinar. It's happening on 26th September from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The topic is key business compliance requirements for SMEs in Kenya. I've just shared the link in the chat box. Maybe you can register for the same, but I will also keep on reminding you in your emails. Thank you also for embracing the idea of starting a new WhatsApp group. We will share the link for people who are open to the same so that you can join. John Dhumbi, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Frida. I don't have much to say, just to appreciate the participation by the audience. And I think also the WhatsApp group will help us to keep this discussion on. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John. Since we don't have any questions in the chat box, I think, Dan, I would allow you to give us your parting shot.
Thank you, Frida, and thank you for those comments. I appreciate you. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Rose. Rose is a fellow practitioner also. I really appreciate Rose. You should also make us a presentation one of these days. I know you being a professional, you'll also have something to share, and it'll be good. So really appreciate your comment. And kindly give us more ideas about what the kind of issues we'd want us to discuss. And of course, when we get those ideas, we also look for people who can be able to share those ideas. We are not saying we know everything. So there'll be professionals or experts we can look for who can be able to contribute, who can be able to give their views, make presentations about various topics. So feel free to share your ideas on the challenges that we are experiencing. And of course, that's why we are looking for that common forum that we can be able to interact on a day-to-day basis, and of course, restrict it to discussions of business-related matters that are relevant for us to grow as business people. So as a way of winding up, we are saying business financial resilience is an ongoing process. It's not that you'll have some magic solution and, like an injection you have, and therefore you are healed, you are immune from problems. it's a learning thing every day. And that's why we need to keep up learning on a day-to-day basis to know that it's at the end of the day an ongoing thing. It's not something that one can be treated for. Like you get an injection and therefore you have developed immunity for whatever. No. It's learning every day and knowing new challenges are coming every day, and therefore trying to adopt as much as possible. And of course, by prioritizing issues of risk, the risks that we face on a day-to-day basis, the risks are basically the threats to our businesses. And then planning forward, planning our game plan, putting in place a game plan, and focusing on our customers. What can we be able to do? Then we can be able to have that long-term growth, sustainability, success that we crave for. And of course, we are told to enjoy the journey, not to think of a destination as much. So I would encourage that we know that whatever problems one is facing in running a business, they are not unique to you, and many people have seen those problems now, they are experiencing them now, or they have seen them before, and sharing those ideas will always be good. So thank you. I look forward to interacting with you more, maybe in the next session. Thank you, and take over and wind up, Frida. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan, for that wonderful presentation. And I'm hoping from this webinar, our businesses are more empowered to be resilient. Yes, I can see Kennedy asking where you will get the recording. I will share the recordings later in the day in your email. So thank you so much, everyone, for dedicating time to join this webinar. The webinars take place every other month. We do them. Our main aim is to empower SMEs and equip them with relevant industry skills on how to manage their finances and stay updated in the various tax updates by KRA. Our next webinar is scheduled for 26th September from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The topic is the key business compliance requirements for SMEs in Kenya. I've shared the link in the chat section. Maybe you can register for the same. We are John, Daniel and Partners LLP, just as I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar. We are based in Kilimani, Nairobi, Commodore office suites. We are Zero certified, and we offer services such as bookkeeping and accounting. We also do audits, both internal and external. We offer tax advisory. We also do e-Teams onboarding for businesses. We can also conduct tax health checks for your businesses. Feel free to contact us through the information provided there. Our email address is info@johndaniel.co.ke, or you can call us at 0722-817-818. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to host you, and I hope you have picked something on resilience. Yes, thank you so much. See you in our next webinar. Feel free to exit. Thank you.
This is brought to you by John Daniel and Partners LLP.